just want to go over something we had yesterday. We had a machlokas between Rav and Abaye. Kiddushin she'ein mesurin l'biyah. Is it a kiddushin, not a kiddushin? That if a person marries one of two sisters, and he doesn't know which one is affected as a result of the kiddushin, according to Rava, the marriage is not a marriage whatsoever, because the kiddushin causes that he's not permitted to either of them. According to Abaye, the kiddushin is a kiddushin, he's not permitted to either of them. Right? That was the argument. So we quoted the Mishnah, and we said seemingly the Mishnah is a refutation of Rava, because the Mishnah says that a person's b'kadosh shtei achios ein mukudeshes. They're not married. But if the inference is, but if you say one of the two is married to me, she is married. But if you say one of the two, and Yacho, which one of the two, according to Rava, such a kiddushin, if the woman is not going to be permitted to you, should not be a marriage. But yet it seems submission is a marriage. That was the question on Rava. And the Gemara asks from the Sefer. The Sefer says, what happens? There was an incident. A person married, took a basket of figs, and he married 5 women. And he says, you should all be married to me. And 2 of the women were sisters. So it says, 3 of the women are Mekudoshos, and the 2 are not Mekudoshos. So the question is, when he said, so the question is, what did he say? Did he say, all of you should be married to me? So then the question is, why are 3 married? Because we should say, At v'chamor, it's all or nothing. He said, I want all of you. So why are only the sisters not married? If he said, Kulchem, evidently what he says is, one of you should be married to me. One of you should be married to me. And it says what? He's not married to the sisters. So therefore the sisters definitely don't need a get, but the 3, they would need a get. That's Rava. So that proves his point. So why the sisters not? He said 1. So one of the sisters should be married, so evidently, because since neither of the sisters would be permitted to him, because it would be achos isha, therefore neither of the sisters are married. But the other 3, we're not sure which 3 he's married to, because they were unrelated, the other 3 women. Therefore you need a get. So then we're asked, the Reisha is a refutation on Rava, and the concluding case in the Mishnah is a refutation of Abaye. Right? That was the question. So each of them answered the question according to his own understanding. And they had to somehow, you don't read the Mishnah face value. As it reads, they insert certain things. I just want to go over that again. So the more answers, Abaye, 4th line. Abaye metortz l'tamig. Abaye reconciles the Mishnah, answers the Mishnah according to his position that kiddushin she'ein mesurin be a happy kiddushin. Hamakadosh ishu bita. A person who wants to marry a mother and her daughter, Vayeishev achosa, kachas, simultaneous, ein mukudoshos. Neither is effective. But the inference is ha'achas, but one of mi'isha bita. One, either the mother or the daughter. Oh, mi'isha achosa, or 2 sisters, one of the sisters should be married to him, mukudeshes. So that's good. So according to Rav Abaye, the opening case of the Mishnah is a proof to his. It's only if you want both, not. But if one of the 2, although neither are going to be permitted to you because it's Safik Doraisa, it's Mukudeshes. Now he inserts this. What would be Vim Oma Haruyu Labiyatis Kadishli? If he would say, I only want to marry you if I could cohabit with you. With as a result of the kiddushin, I could cohabit with the one I'm marrying. And Mukudeshes. So that means even in that case, if he says one of you, the 2 sisters, or either the mother or the daughter, and it's not determined which one, then it's not a kiddushin. Because since it's a Safik D'Oraisa L'Chumra, and the precondition was that I should be able to cohabit, Ru'ya L'Biyah, neither is Ru'ya L'Biyah. Right? Neither, he can't cohabit either because it's Safik D'Oraisa L'Chumra. No, but according to Rava, it's understood. You don't even have to say that according to Rava. But this Abaye, no, because the only way you can understand the concluding case is in this manner, according to Abaye, as the Gemara will explain. He says, however, even the first case, if he would have said, one of you 2, but only if I could cohabit with the one I'm marrying, then it's not Mukudeshes. And what is an example of that? And he learns the Mishnah. So he's inserting something into the Mishnah, and the case which is stated in the conclusion is an example of what he's saying. He says, Umase, Nami, and there was an incident to prove this point. The 5 women, Ubehen Shtei Nachios. And among the 5, there were 2 sisters. V'liket echod kalkola shel teinim. He took a basket of figs. V'omar, and he said to all 5 of them, Haruya li mikem tiskadish li. Whichever woman I'm permitted to, that's the one I want to marry. V'amru chachomim, so the chachom said in regard to that particular case, eino achis mukadoshos. The other 3 women, we're not sure which one, but every one is ruyalo. He could kabbu with every one of them. But with the sisters, he can't kabbu with either of them because he's not sure which sister he married. So the sisters are definitely not married. They need no get. But the 3, since we're not sure which one, so each one, if she wants to marry a third party, each one needs a get. Because each one is permitted to him. No, that's the example. And the ratio, the only reason why it's not Mekudeshes is because he wants both to take effect. But if it would be one of the 2, it would be effective. However, if he said only if it's royally, then not even the first case. What is an example of that? The case of 5 women. With 2 of the 5 were sisters. We're talking about that, he said. That's it. But again, that's a follow-up. It does not be added. No, one.
Because the way this is translated, he said, any of you who are unpermitted, so I would have thought that would be 2. Yeah, why not? He's marrying as many as he's permitted. Why is that not the right way to understand it? So then for certain, we need a get, because they were married women.
One second. Yeah, okay. Even though the Gemara used the term, he said, Haruya l'biyo, Scottish labor Godeshes, Masadim Omar Haruya li mikem. Right? Okay. 3 are married, 2 are not married. Okay, right. They're his wives. He married all 3. All 3.
But if he said, I just want to marry one of you,
It'd be the same thing. But it would be the same thing. Then
because
they'd meet.
Because it's a suffix, they all need a get.
But they're all available to him. But the sisters don't. Right? Correct.
Doesn't say that.
No, because he's saying the chiddush is this, that even though normally we say kiddushin does not have to be roy labio, right? That's a bayi. Right. But he says, but if he inserts this condition, then he's just, you're right. In its own right, no, it's not superfluous. Because whenever you state a case, you say, you never have to roy labio.
So in other words,
he's only saying the contrasting one to another. According to Rabbi, you wouldn't have to discuss it, because even if you don't say anything, it's not Mekudeshes. But Abayu says normally it is Mekudeshes, he's contrasting it, that's why. In its own right, it's not a Chiddush. It's not a Chiddush in its own right. Yeah, but right. That even though that may be the case, but this is not. Yes, the Gemara will discuss that. The Gemara will discuss that. Yeah, the Gemara is going to discuss that. Okay. So that's how Abaye explains the Mishnah. Rava mitoris latame hamakadish achas meisha ubito. The way he learns the Mishnah, it's not speaking. He wants to marry both. The way we read the Mishnah, one who wants to marry the sister and the mother, the 2 sisters, or the mother and the daughter. He explains the Mishnah. Initially, he only wants to marry one of the two. Okay, but it's undetermined which one. Right? Hamakarish achas mi'ishu bito or achas mi'ishu b'chosa. What the Mishnah means, nasik mishikidish ishu bito. It's the equivalent of wanting to marry both. Okay? Just as you cannot marry a mother and a daughter because you can't be married to a mother and a daughter. O ishu b'chosa, kachas. It's the equivalent of that. A woman who you're not permitted to, due to the kiddushin, because it's undetermined, is the equivalent of marrying both of them. And there was an incident. Here, this is what he said. All of you, kulchem, I want to marry. And one of the two sisters, mukdoshesli. I want to marry all of you and one of the two sisters. So this is Rav is inserting this, right? The kalkolazu, v'amruchachomim ein achyus mukadoshos. So the sisters are not married because why? Although he also said achas because it's kedushay mesur labia because factually he can't cohabit with them.
So if he would have said all of them, everybody would agree.
No, then atu chamor, none of them would have been. Exactly. But that we started off. That was basic. That was basic.
So that's why Rava has to say achad. He holds it achad like two.
According to Abai, he had to insert the ones who are permitted to me, right? That I could cohabit with. That's what Abai had to insert. He's saying all of you and one of the two sisters. Lishma has nothing to do with it. It's aloch in lishma. Gemara said, "Kesef, could you have lishma by kesef?" There's certain things you can't have by kiddushin. No, it has nothing to do with it. Nothing. Toshma. Hakbakarish es bito stam. A man says, "I'm marrying my daughter to you," and he has multiple daughters. This man. Stam, and he doesn't specify which daughter he's married to the man. Eina bogris b'chlal. And he has other daughters. The daughters who are above 12 and a half years old. So since they're no longer in his jurisdiction, so the daughters, when he says bito, he's including the daughters that he could marry, that they're in his jurisdiction. Eina bogris b'chlal, so the bogros, the fully mature daughters are not within his statement. Hoktanis b'chlal. But the minors, they what? They would need a get. V'amai kiddushin mesur labia ninu, right? The Gemara understands now he has multiple daughters who are minors who he could marry up. He says, "I'm marrying my daughter to you." He didn't specify which daughter. So what do we have? Since kiddushin mesur labia, since the bogris is never a question, so they're free to do whatever they want. But the minors, every one of them needs a get. Or what do they need a get? Since we never know from the very beginning which daughter he married, the kiddushin should not be a kiddushin. So even the minor should not get. Utiyuf to the Rava. Amalach Rava. Hocham askinon she'ein sham el gdol ktana. He has two daughters. He has an adult and he has a minor. So when he says, "I'm marrying my daughter to you," which daughter is he referring to? He's referring to the minor. Definitely can't be referring to the adult because he's not in a position to marry off the adult. Somewhere asks, "Habogris ktoni," but it says it in the plural. So just as he has multiple adult daughters, he has multiple minor daughters, and yet it says mukadeshes, meaning she needs a get. But if you're not, you know which daughter he married, she should not need a get, correct? So again, it's a refutation on Rava. To the Rava.
Why can't you say that the father certainly knew? So even though he died, whatever the case afterwards, at the time he made the proposal,
No, nobody ever knew. Let's say the father says, "One of my daughters."
And he has some, like,
One of my daughters are married to you.
he's not specific.
Right. My bogros. But let's say the husband gave it. He says, "I'm married." Let's say the father knew in his mind. Harei mukadeshesli. He says, "I'm marrying one of my daughters." Now her father knew, but he never shared with which one. So the kiddushin that he married, the man never knew which one was his wife. No, it's a problem. No, it's not fine. It's not fine. How do we know which is his wife? Nobody ever knew who the wife was.
If I make a shliach, say, marry a woman from me.
No, because the shlich is you. The father here is the girl, right? The Makadish is the husband. He who was Makadish never knew who his wife was. The father is the equivalent of the girl. So which daughter is he representing? A, B, or C? The husband never knew. Whatever father has in mind. I have no idea what he has in mind. So that's Kedushin Shem Mishur Bia, so why should he get? He says there's one daughter. He says, how could there be one daughter? Just as it says Bogros in the plural, so evidently the minors are also in the plural. So Mer says Bogros Talmud. Doesn't mean that this man has multiple adult daughters. It means the same thing would be true if other people if they had adult daughters. So Mer says if that's the case, if he only has one adult daughter and one minor daughter, so of course who did he marry? Who's married? The minor. It's understandable. So what are you saying? What's the chiddush? No, I just want to give Ernie some credit. This question he asked yesterday. What's the chiddush? We're speaking with the adult daughter, made the father an agent that he should represent her. So now we have a question. When he's representing her, and he has his own ability to marry off his minor daughter, correct? So now he says, Harei B'Kedeshesli. So he has the ability to marry off, to represent his adult daughter. Which one did he mean? Did he mean is he representing the adult, or is he marrying the minor? On that, the Bryce is saying he's representing the minor. Why? Maybe you would say, since he's the agent of the daughter, he's receiving the marriage on behalf of the adult daughter, which he can. So if that's the case, it's Kedushin Shem Yisur and Labiyah, right? Kamash Malon. So what it's telling me, the Bryce we're quoting, we're speaking, we say, factually, we had it in the first parak. Who receives the most Kedushin? A man marries a person's minor daughter. Who's the beneficiary of the money? The father. When he's representing his daughter as an agent, that money goes to the daughter. So what would a person prefer to be? Where he's the beneficiary of the act, or somebody else would be the beneficiary? So we could say with certainty, since he's going to be the beneficiary, he has in mind the minor and not the adult daughter, although he can marry off the adult daughter. Of course the shliach does not get the money. Who's he marrying? You're only you're representing the woman who's being married.
You like the one, the woman.
You're only a receptacle to receive the money. No, but we say the proof is look, you make a wedding and wherever it's some fancy hall, right? Cost you fortunes. And he wants both his daughters to get married. So the question is, I understand that.
The older one married off first because the older one will get married.
The Gemara asks a better question than your questions. But the Gemara says better.
Just to go back to this point, the husband still doesn't know which one is it, so how does that work in this case?
No, he does know. There's not. It's definitely the minor. He does. He's agreeable to marry whichever one of other marries. No, but it's Kedushin Absura Labiyah. The issue is not because the husband doesn't know. She's not available to him for Biyah. That's the problem.
Which one?
If we don't know which one, but since over we say it's the minor, not the adults, he knows which one's available to him. The minor. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what if he even has a daughter. He says, "I'd like to marry your daughter." He says, "You're welcome." Let's see, we find afterwards he has no daughters. Right? The man's a thief. He took his money.
No, I understand that. But
He has no idea. It turns out he only has one adult daughter and he has one minor daughter. So who did he marry off his daughter? Which daughter? Did we say he married the minor daughter?
he comes as a shliach and he comes as a father.
So we're speaking of a case where the husband doesn't realize that the daughter made her father a shliach. The husband knows nothing. He only knows the man is marrying, is receiving the money in marriage on behalf of his daughter. And he's marrying one daughter. Right? Samar says, Milu askinon. Samar asks, as a better question than everybody else is asking. You mean to say this case is only speaking about where the fee goes to what? The money goes to the daughter, it doesn't go to the father. Milu askin darmale kiddushay The didoch. You mean it's speaking even in the case? You mean it's not speaking case where the daughter says to the father, "Be my agent. You could take the money for yourself." So if that's the case, everything's equal. He's a beneficiary whether he marries off the minor or he marries off the adult. So yet we say over here that what he's married to the minor. It's kiddushin misur labia according to Rava. Afilu hochi lo shavik inish mitzvah de rami alei vav mitzvah de rami alei. Yeah, now this is where it says, the Torah says, biti nosati lishazer. That we say that on Torah level, a minor is in the jurisdiction of a father, that there's a mitzvah for him to marry of his daughter. When he does, he's actually the equivalent of the daughter. That's the mitzvah. Forget about the Yiddish nachas, okay? So therefore, because of that, although he didn't specify, he means the minor and not the adult. Although he can, and he's going to be the beneficiary, doesn't make a difference. He would prefer to address what his personal obligation is before he addresses his Yiddish nachas. Okay. Doesn't that find it compelling? We're saying that is the mindset.
I understand the mitzvah. I understand what the Gemara is saying, but as a practical matter, when you marry a younger one before the older one, you create problems in the family. We see this from Rochel and Leah. It's right there in the Torah.
No.
Explicit.
There they were both adults. That was the difference. No, there's a difference. One's a minor, one's an adult. So
I understand, but the concept of the older sister having to wait for the younger is always an issue.
if they're both adults. Both adults.
It creates problems for the older one. And it creates problems in the relationship.
Okay.
As a father, I would say, I always want to marry the older one first. Everything we need to.
You know something? You know, what you say now is plagiarism. Because that's what Lovin said. In our community, we only marry the older daughter before the younger daughter, regardless of what the agreement is.
I'm not plagiarizing, I'm just
I'm also quoting from the Torah, but those are Lovin's words.
That's what he said.
Okay.
And that is understandable.
Nowadays, everybody's an adult daughter. So
Yeah, today it doesn't. There's no relevance because they're all adults. Here it's a minor versus.
No, but today, even when you have two adult daughters, there's pressure, and when the inverse of this pressure creates
Okay.
dynamic.
Okay.
I mean,
Maybe
I would just say,
today, maybe
if a father has a choice,
you want to say in today's society, maybe we'd reevaluate this. But in their society, whatever the mitzvah is incumbent upon the father, that's his mindset. I'll give you a case. There's Gemara in the Dorim. We have a principle, Zochen Lod Mishal B'Fanav. Okay? Zochen Lod, if I want to do an act which is beneficial to a third party unbeknown to him, I could take possession on his behalf. That's Zochen Lod Mishal B'Fanav. Okay? So therefore, if let's see, I want to purchase something on a third party's behalf, I can, because it's in his benefit. What about, the Gemara has a shad like this. You have tevel. You have grain that has been tithed. So to tithe somebody's grain, you have to be a shliach. You have to be a shliach. He doesn't point you to be a shliach. You have no right to tithe his grain. Okay? He didn't point you to shliach. So you know, but I'm going to do something better than that. I have my own grain that's untithed. I will take from my own untithed grain and tithe his grain. Understand? That means he will have, all his grain will remain chulin, where he's not going to lose, he won't have to give away a percentage. Because the percentage that he would normally have to give away, I will give from my grain, which is tevel. Right? Because ta'aloch chiyuv al chiyuv, you can take chiyuv al chiyuv. My grain is obligated to tithe, his grain is obligated. I will take those obligations from my grain, and he has 100% profit from what? From his harvest. Wait a second. Said Zochen Lod Mishal B'Fanav. Right? Smar says no. A person would prefer to do it his own. I don't need favors because it's his mitzvah. Because when I take it from my own, I have the mitzvah. I'm not willing to give away the mitzvah for money. But you realize 10% plus all kinds of percentages. Again, person prefers. I prefer to have the mitzvah myself. Okay. In today's day and age, with inflation, with hedging, who knows what people would say today. But that's what the Gemara says. Okay. So that's the question I asked the rabbi. Ever seen the person becoming wealthy? Okay. Toshma. Mishesh lo shtei kite bonos. Okay, so now you can't say he only had one daughter. Person has two groups of daughters. Shtei kite bonos. Mishtei noshim, from two wives. Now this is interesting. You know, when Yaakov had made the agreement with Laban, which daughter? He says, Rachel bitcha ktano. If you say Rachel, you get to go to the shuk, go to the market, you find a Rachel, marry him. Bitcha, your daughter. So you can take Leah, switch her name from what? From Leah to Rachel, name change, right? So what does he do? Rachel bitcha ktano. So if that's the case, he's covered. That's what he thought he was covered. So we're going to have a case. He has two groups of daughters. So one group is older than the other group. And he says, Mishe shtei kiti bonos, mishtei noshim, from two wives. V'mekidashti es biti agdola. I married off my older daughter. That's what he said, my older daughter. Ve'eni yodea. And I don't recall when I said gedola what I meant. Im gedola sheba gedolos. Does it mean the oldest of all of them? Vim gedola sheba ktanos, or the oldest of the second group? Right? Was the oldest daughter from the first wife or the oldest daughter from the second wife? Although she's younger than all the daughters from the first wife. Im ktanos sheba gedolos, or maybe it's even the youngest of the first group because she's still older than the others. She gedola min agdola sheba ktanos, because she's older than the oldest of the younger group. Kuma asuros. Chutz miktana shebiktanos. The only one which is definitely not married is the youngest of the second group. Because everyone is older than someone else. And the father says, I don't know. Okay? He didn't take his medication that day. Okay? Divra Meir. So that means what? That means they all need a get. Every one of them needs a get. But according to Rava, it's kiddushin say Misur Labiyah. It should be nothing. On that he says, Rameir, Hochma Askinon, Shehukru B'sof Nisarbu. Initially, he married one, we knew which one. And afterwards, you know, they looked very similar. And then afterwards, that daughter mixed with the other ones, and nobody recalls who the original wife was. They don't remember. So since initially, at the time of the kiddushin, was Misur Labiyah, and now the question arose, it's not a problem. How do we know that that's the case? The economy could actually be deduced from the language. The Ktani Eino Yodea. Eino Yodea says, I don't know. So the father, I don't know. What if Eino Yodea? Looked on Eino Yodua. It doesn't say it wasn't known. Wasn't known means it was never known. Eino Yodea, today I don't know, but initially I did know. So since initially he did know which one, so therefore it's Dushna Misur Labiyah. Now it became confusing.
What about the Kiddush then? Why do you have to...
Yeah, that's the Chiddush. That's the Chiddush. It's only because of this, but if it would be the other way, it's not even a kiddushin.
What is the first round?
That he's turning it around the other way. So now it's a Savi Doraisa. Right? Original Misur Labiyah, that means the kiddushin was kiddushin. Now you're not sure which sister. So you're not permitted to any of them. Because you may be engaging in the sister of your wife. Therefore, therefore you have to even get to every one of them. That's Rabbi's response. I mean, in a certain way, I mean, this would be a proof to Rabbi. Because, I mean, what we originally said, according to Abai, what's the Chiddush? So you have to say the Chiddush is, whatever the words are able to carry interpretation, that's what you have to be concerned about. So since when he says the older daughter, and older means could be any one of them other than the youngest of all of them, then what? That means they would need a get. So what's the Chiddush? Right? It's understandable. You see, you still have to state it. According to Rav, it's even better. It's only because it's Eino Dea. That's because Eino Dea means he knew, but he doesn't know. That's why. But if it would be Eino Yodua was never known, then they wouldn't need a get. That's a Chiddush. The Chiddush is the inference of the case. According to Rav, it's a much greater Chiddush. Right? According to Abaye, what's the Chiddush? Well, I'm just explaining it to you. But there's really no Chiddush in Abaye. Who? It's not a conclusive proof. It's from the inference, maybe. Because according to Abaye, it's less of a chiddush. Yeah, of course. All these brises, it's irrelevant. We're quoting brises. You can't refute a namora from namora. Of course. But again, Samar says, "Ihochi ma'ilem emro." Says, "What's the chiddush?" So what's the chiddush? No, now we're asking according to Abaye. According to Rav, what's the chiddush? If a person knew originally which one, and now he doesn't know which one, he has to give a get to all of them. What else is known? What's the chiddush? It's something the right? He says, it comes to exclude Rabbi Yossi's, to negate Rabbi Yossi's position. Things happen. That a man could say, there's no question, what does Gedola normally mean? Gedola normally means the oldest. But we say, but since it could also mean all these other possibilities, but since it's not that remote that a person doesn't remember. So what happens if a person doesn't remember? That means every one of his daughters need a get. So so a person prefers not to speak ambiguously. If he says this, he definitely means the oldest. Because Lamochas inish nafshi l'sveika. That's Rabbi Yossi's position. According to Rabbi Yossi, only the oldest one would need a get. Kamash malon, the mochas inish nafshi l'sveika. A person would speak this way because the person figures he'll always remember. He's not worried about what could be. It's so remote, person doesn't think. Rabbi Yossi says no. Person takes that into account. So therefore, when he speaks initially, when he said the oldest, he meant the oldest of all of them. Because otherwise, everybody's life gets very complicated. You following? What is the mindset of a person? That's always, you always find that. No, a person is always clear. It's like we have machlokas, Rameh, the Chachomim. When a person says something, what does he mean? You say, Eno the most dvar of levatol. The person doesn't speak nonsense. So when he says something, he means something. Otherwise, a person says things nonsensical without thinking. People speak that way, right? So it's an evaluation of what the mindset of a person is. No. Not people speak that way. No, because no. The father is believed to say which one he married off. When a person says, the father's believed. Father says afterwards, I don't recall which one I meant. Because it's something so remote that a person shouldn't remember which one he meant. Therefore, a person will say something, and he's not concerned of that situation. Because it's not really relevant. Rabbi Yossi says a person takes everything into account. Because you never know. That's the argument here.
English, the word older always refers to two. So if he uses the word older, we have a suffix. Do you mean the older of the younger group or the older of the other group? But if you use the word oldest, it
oldest.
always refers to three or more.
The oldest.
It always refers to three or more. That is the real idea.
Oldest?
Older. Old, older, oldest. Old, that's the rule in English. Older refers to two, and oldest refers to three or more. Not one? No. So, if you have a group, okay, you want to speak with precision. If there are two people, you always say the older. And if there are three people, you want to talk about the oldest because that is older.
No. I agree, but it's still the oldest. Even if you have three, you say the oldest. Which one is? The oldest of the three. But it's the oldest. It's still the oldest.
Now, if you have the two groups, let's suppose you have the two and the two, just as we're talking about. That's the case.
No, but he's saying, I'm marrying you to my older daughter. He didn't say oldest.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but
I'm saying in the English language.
I'm saying English. I'm in the English language. English language.
If you said, I'm marrying the older, and I don't know what the Hebrew is, but if you use the English, I'm marrying the older, and you have the two groups, there is ambiguity. I understand that.
Right, that's what he said.
But if you said, I'm marrying my oldest, there's no ambiguity whatsoever.
It would be a question. It's either the oldest of the first group or the second group.
Because there's only two in each group. In the way that word is used, it could not be ambiguous. It would be one person. That's my point. Now, I don't know how the Hebrew works.
what about he said the older?
Older or
Translated here as older.
Older, the older.
I'm saying older.
So what, older? She said older. He said the older daughter. So the older could be every one of them but the youngest. That's what we're saying now.
I'm just making this point.
Okay.
The question is, what is the word being used? Because if there is in Hebrew a word called older,
Yeah.
then I understand the answer.
Okay, so let's, the
If
word,
there isn't a word older, it's always oldest that it's used. Then there's no one. Oldest meaning what? There's no ambiguity.
but is it one of the first group or oldest of the
Oldest
second?
can only apply to a group of two.
No, but maybe we're talking about, yeah, two groups. Which group? Is it group A or group B?
You wouldn't use the oldest.
Why not? We're talking about two different groups of people. I know, I understand that. Which group? Okay, so instead of getting ambiguous here and being complicated, he said older.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, older. That's all. It's not complicated. Okay.
But I mean, we're parsing words.
Okay, but the word. So we're saying in the Hebrew language, the way the Gemara is explained clearly, when a person is a gedolah, it means older in the Hebrew language. Okay. Otherwise, the whole thing doesn't start.
And so if you have 3 people or 5 people, what would you, how would you, what
It's
word
still.
would you use?
I'm not sure. It's still. You have to be more specific. In the Hebrew language, it has a broad meaning. It could mean everybody but the youngest. This word can mean everybody but the youngest. That's what it could mean.
So there is no concept of oldest.
Right.
in Hebrew.
Correct.
So that's why.
You have to add. You have to be more
So
specific.
that's why it's ambiguous.
You have to say the oldest of all my daughters. Orders. That's what you'd have to say. Right, Yaakov. That's why Yaakov. Right. Okay. Toshma. See, we have multiple benefits here. We learn the English language and we understand what the Gemara says as a result of that. Okay, Toshma. No. We're trying to refute, back and forth, refute which position is correct. Misha kiddush achas b'shtei achios. Person marries one of 2 sisters. Ve'en yudei is a kiddush. Kiddush. He doesn't know which one he married. Nosi get lezev leget lezev. So again, what the obvious is, initially he never knew. This it's terrible. He knew which, and then after it became, the question arose later. Dekanami, again, the same proof. Diktoni, enu yodeya. He doesn't know today. V'lo enu yodua. It was not known. Known would indicate initially not known. Someone says, what's the chiddush? Sefer tzrichalei. The chiddush is the sefer. What's the sefer? Now, mace v'lo achechot. Let's say he dies and he has a brother, and he died childless. So that means the woman falls liyibum. Cholitz l'shtein. Okay? So he has to give chalitza to both. Or because he's married to one of the 2 sisters. 1 second. Hoyelo shnayim. What he has 2 brothers, the 2 surviving brothers. Now, I think we'll leave these.